Greetings Palia housing enthusiasts. Welcome to today's tutorial where we're going to be going over the basics of earthbending. What is earthbending in regards to Palia? As you can see in the background here, earthbending is just a fancy way of saying how to create different slopes and angles with your terrace pieces. It's basically a way to get a little bit more bang for your buck, since, you know, it's the most egregious gold sink that S6 has put into the game for the most part. I'm just going to be going over how to do basic slopes and how to make an easy raised platform. Before we go any further, quick word from myself. It's that time of the video, everybody. I'll try and make this quick, but wanted to give a massive thank you to everyone that's supported the channel so far on Ko-Fi, and give a reminder to anyone that's found the material on the channel useful and would like to support it, that the link to Ko-Fi is in the video description. Now with that awkward business out of the way, let's get to the materials list. Alright everybody, so because we're going to be making slopes, we're of course going to need our trusty industrial wall shelf, and we're going to be using building blocks. I will be using the wood variety, but you can use any of them for floors. The stone floors won't work for what we're doing because they do have collision when trying to place them on top of the terrace pieces, so don't use those. That's the one thing that cannot be subbed in. So if you use the just stick to the wood, you should be good to go. And just as far as like numbers go, just have a lot of them. For the example, we're going to have a total of 9 large terrace pieces, and then that will be to make our hill, as well just some small terrace pieces just for example purposes, and yeah, that should be it. But really, you can do what we're about to do. You can sub in whichever terrace pieces you would like to use. The concept will work. As you can see over here, I have like medium terrace pieces, and then on top there's like medium terrace pieces surrounded by a large terrace piece. But as I said, for the example, we're just going to do a basic one. Now, getting into the setup, we're going to make a radial arm just by placing a builder's large crate and then a couple of small crates just like that. And then at the end of it is where we're going to place our industrial wall shelf. We just take it down for a second. Then on top of our shelf, we're going to attach a builder's small crate. And just make sure that it's actually on the shelf and not attached to the backing crate. There we go. And the reason for that is just so we can attach floors to the shelf. And one more bit of setup is to get a few floors all in a row, and they all need to be independent of one another. Next, we're going to use the group select button. So as you can see up there, I'm going to press Alt, and on switch you're going to press ZL, and if you did it right, you'll be allowed to take these floors away and just have one singular floor hovering out here in midair. There we go. That's the setup. Now, getting into the example of just how to do a basic slope, we're going to place down whatever terrace piece we want to turn into a slope, and we're going to attach a new floor to the floor that's hovering in midair. This is so we don't need to make another hovering floor, and we can just keep reusing that floor. Now, from here we can do one of two things. We can either just put a floor directly on the terrace piece, and this will allow us to group select the terrace and place it up on top, or we can place a floor beside it, and this will give us two different kind of distances. And depending on how steep you want your slope is how much you are going to tilt your shelf. So see, if we do it like this, it's going to be, our terrace piece is going to be hovering out in midair a bit. But if we do it like this, it'll be recessed into the ground. So you lose a little bit of real estate, but at the same time, your floor is completely covered. So it's kind of like, pick your poison. And then you just kind of like move it into position of where you want it. And remember, you can control whether or not it's treated as a building block or a terrace piece by using the group select feature. So if you just click the builder's floor, the assembly will be treated as though it were a building block. But if you group select the terrace piece, it'll be treated as though it were a terrace piece, which is important because that means that it won't come in, or it won't have collision with other terrace pieces. So there we go, that's just a basic slope. Okay, now this is where it starts to get a little bit GUI, I guess. Because, or I guess complicated would be the better word for it. Because we now have to think a little bit more about making like complex slopes. On the plus side, we're not really doing anything too different from what we did in the first example. We're just changing the slope, that's all. And we're just using bigger pieces. So if we want to use this massive piece here, again, if we just place it on the floor, you might want to rotate it a bit. Again, we see that it's okay. It's not a bad angle, but if we just push it up by adding a crate to that floor, and then we group select and put the terrace on top of that crate, we get a bit more real estate, and not as much is sunk into the ground. And that's what we're going to be doing to make our hill. Except we're going to be a little bit more efficient. So we're going to place out a few more floors, and then we're just going to rotate it that one tick. Then we're going to add a crate. Place our landscape down, put a floor on top of it, group select it onto the crate, take the floor off. I put it on the wrong one. We want to do it from the end. And then when you put it down, all you do is group select via the terrace, so it can come in contact with our other one. And now you can see that we can start building our hill. We only really need one more, and then our simple hill might be done, actually. It's the nice thing about making a shallow incline. Yeah, there you go. And if you're wondering about like plugging up the holes here, you can either bend some of these smaller pieces to cozy those in, or the other option, of course, because we have these lovely boulders, yeah, you just cozy up on in some boulders and they plug up those holes all nice and pretty like. This one is a little bit bigger. And this will give me a good chance to show you a neat application for the Lillian Games rug trick, because if you throw a rug on a floor, and then you throw the boulder on, you have to make sure to get it on the floor. It's weird, I haven't had that happen before. There we go. Took a second, but we got there. Yeah, you can use the rug trick to cozy on in your boulders, and then just sneak out your rug. But yeah, there you go. There's a basic hill for you. Another question that I had was making a platform, and a Switch friendly version of making a platform specifically with the terrace pieces is like so. Everyone's probably very or might be familiar with this group select trick. I mean, we used it earlier in the tutorial, so I hope you're familiar with it, where you have the independent floors, and then we're just going to stick it to a floor that's at 90 degrees. Boop, just like that. And then we can take away the floors that are like this, and then we can just boop like that. And now we can use those flooring up there to elevate our terrace. And adjust as needed. Then the idea is that you hide this support with slopes around it. So, yeah. And that's about it. If anybody has any further questions or needs any further assistance with this, my help desk is open every Monday and Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, over on Twitch. While the solutions in today's tutorial were thought up by myself, they could not have been made possible by the tireless effort and work and testing by a couple of very important people, the first of which being Lillian of the Lillian Games. Please see the link in the description for her channel if you'd like to see her tutorials. She was the person who discovered the 1-cup technique, which is the group select trick that we feature in many of our videos, as well 𝐏𝐚𝐥𝐢𝐚, who helped me out with a lot of the testing for various group select applications. And of course, we can't forget to thank Artus Sever of Foxstar Productions for the music in today's video. If anyone would like to check out his channel, please also see the link in the description. And last but certainly not least, if anyone hasn't joined the unofficial Palia housing Discord server, please see the link in the description for that. And it's that time of the video, everyone, where I just remind everybody that I have been a tiny dragon with the most titanic dreams, hoping that you, wherever you are, keep your dreams just as big. Alright, love you guys, and I'll see you in the future.